Alright, little is known about the function of these blood vials, though dozens of Abstergo took an interest in their recovery at some point in the late 1980s. To date, only 3 have been found with their original contents intact, and of these, only 1 contained a confirmed sample of precursor DNA. Abstergo Industries executives have expressed particular interest in locating more precursor DNA and, if possible, samples of our so-called mitochondrial Eve. As far-fetched as it sounds, please take special care to identify any vials you might stumble upon in a memory replay. Unfortunately, as the average half-life of DNA is a mere 500 years, a sample old enough to belong to either source 80,000 years or more will have degraded well beyond usefulness. We suspect it would require a minimum of over 250 similarly preserved samples and a hell of a lot of luck to sequence an entire precursor genome, though the true figure is probably closer to 500. Crystal skulls. These ancient tools have been found on a few separate occasions and alleged precursor sites throughout the world. All are communication devices to some degree, although 3 distinct varieties have been discovered so far. The first crystal skulls work much like the mobile telephoning devices we use today. These allow multi-node communication between all who possess the working device. The second crystal skull was later discovered to have a record and playback function, meaning a user could record and send audio-visual messages to multiple parties as frequently as he saw fit. A third set of crystal skulls, discovered only recently, seem to have acted as passive monitoring devices, much like televisions and multi-camera surveillance system setup. As yet, the cameras on the opposite end of this setup have not been found. It is unclear why these communication devices were designed to resemble such a macabre piece of anatomy. Macabre? I don't know what that word is. But we have no reason to suspect that our precursor race, and intelligent as they were, didn't occasionally fall victim to gaudy fashion. Memory seals. These devices, powerful in function but limited in scope, were used by the precursor first civilization to record brief memory impressions, which could then be played back or re-experienced by another user at a later date. Judging by their scarcity, fewer than 40 have ever been found or accounted for. It appears that the seals were not wielded casually by the precursor race, but were installed for use only by the wealthiest and most powerful members of that society. To date, no seals containing recorded precursor memories have been found, and only have been known to contain any information whatsoever. And only a few have been known. God, I can't read. The seals used by the assassin Altair ibn Lahad to pass memory information to Ezio Auditore da Firenze are suspected to be functional to this day, but as this writing, their whereabouts are unknown. As a point of interest, it can be revealed that many of Abstergo's early breakthroughs in genetic memory technology came through close study of these artifacts, although current Animus technology is not based on their architecture. Voynich manuscript, a fascinating puzzle as yet unsolved. We are deeply interested in finding the person or persons responsible for the creation of this magnificent and mystifying tome. All researchers assigned to European subjects living in the 15th and 16th centuries should be advised to pay special heed to any mention of the rare and valuable artifact. Though recent carbon dating has given the manuscript a birth date of 1405 or thereabouts, Abstergo Industries has uncovered highly classified information that complicates this theory greatly. One subject of great interest to us in the endeavor is the English philosopher Roger Bacon. Okay, some of that was interesting, others just kind of went over my head, but then we got 2 more in here.
Be careful now. As the data moves, there are security programs constantly monitoring the data flow. You need to sneak past them, or they will destroy your data and send it back home.
with 0.
I have now resumed the practice of dressing as a man, and have put off my woman's dress.
Why did you take it? Who made you take it?
I took it of my own free will, with no constraint. I prefer a man's dress to a woman's.
You made an oath, Jade. You swore to never again dress as a man.
I never meant to swear that I would not resume the practice.
Why have you done so?
Because it is more lawful and suitable for me to return to the practice of wearing a man's dress, being always among men, than to have a woman's dress. I have resumed it because a promise made to me has not been.
How is he?
Hour 3, doing well.
Are we still in 18th century Hungary?
No. His connection is so stable, he's jumped between a few ancestors today. We're in 15th century France now. Turns out he's related to one of Joan of Arc's executioners.
Surprise.
Eileen, yesterday Vidic asked me to help him work out some of the bugs in his audiovisual renderer, and I told him...
No. Come on, Satish, not you.
It wouldn't be permanent. A few months at most.
Months? That will kill every ounce of momentum we have.
It won't, I promise. Honestly, I think this could help us. If I can get a look at what these people are doing, we could...
Come on. He's trying to pull you over to his side. Don't you see that? He's luring you with quick victory and prestige.
That's not what this is about, honestly.
I need to get back to work.
Eileen, I'm sorry.
Do what you must. I'll survive.
Surrogate Initiative, Test Session 32, April 2nd, 1981. Host Eileen Bock. DNA sample SV1970.
Miriam, are you awake?
What?
Miriam, they're coming for me.
Oh, is it guards?
I see them from my window, massing in the courtyard. My time is up.
Basil, don't say this. You don't know that.
Forgive me for this, Miriam. But I must tell you something. The artifact. We have it. But only Oscar and I know its location.
Don't tell me.
They will release you. Your family has connections. You must take the artifact and bring it to the assassins in Paris.
Please don't. I don't want to know. It's safer if I don't.
Hush now. If I die, knowledge of its location dies with me. You must bring it to the assassins.
Assassins? I don't understand.
The spire of St. Petrus.
No, I don't want to hear.
Cell 7!
Hello?
Eileen, hi. It's Carl.
Carl, I know it's you.
Sorry, you just sound exhausted. Did I wake you?
No, I've just been busy.
It sounds like it.
I'm just a little tired, that's all.
No, I mean, your project sounds fascinating. Your colleague, Dr. Warren Vidic, he called me recently and he told me what you've been up to.
He what? Warren?
Yeah, he told us about your research, memories, ancestry, all of that. He even asked if we'd be willing to come in and...
No! Jesus, no! What the hell is he doing?
Eileen, it's okay. We signed some papers, non-disclosure stuff.
No! He's trying to fuck me over. Damn it!
Eileen, we just talked about my mother, just like you and I did. World War II. That's all.
It's the artifact.
The what?
Carl, if he calls you again, you tell him you work through me, okay? That's it. Vidic has been a pain in my ass for years, and I don't need him getting all the glory for my 2 years of hard work.
All right. So how should I go about this? I mean, the wheels are in motion.
I don't know. Just go through me if he contacts you again. Please?
All right.
You'll do that?
Of course. Yes.
Thank you, Carl. I'm sorry I was short with you. I've just been exhausted. That's all.
It's all right, hon. Just take care of yourself.
Morning, Eileen. We're almost ready. Just a few more adjustments.
Okay.
I had the team do some research on this artifact we've been chasing, and it appears the Third Reich actually found something matching its description sometime in 1940. Eileen, are you all right?
Sorry, yeah. I'm fine. Just a little scattered. Vidic called my ex-husband last night. He wants to put him in the Animus.
To find the artifact before us?
Exactly.
Well, it would be fast using Vidic's Animus. And maybe that would get us back to our original work.
Satish, if we let that happen, then all our money dries up. Lillian is paying for us to find the artifact, not improve our methods. Do you understand?
Right, of course.
I'm sorry. Let's just burn those bridges when we cross them. Are we ready?
Yes, just a few more adjustments, Senori. I made a small change to the genetic input modulator. I'm hoping that buys us a few more minutes.
Even a few seconds would be nice. I'm ready.
All right. Settle in.
That was interesting. I probably gonna have to look for those, or listen to those on my own when I get all of them. It looked like that was audio file 4, so maybe there's 3 others.
It's been a few weeks since the last recording. Sorry about that. Of course, I guess it's just a few seconds for you. I'll leap down the playlist. Anyway, I was talking about Clay. Kasmeric, Subject 16. So, when I fell into a coma back in Italy and woke up in the Animus Black Room, it was, so calming. It felt like I had woken up into a dream. Haze. A dream where none of this mess had ever happened. Felt like I should just be getting ready for another day of pouring drinks at bad weather and another day of complaining about being between girlfriends and wondering what the hell to do with myself. But when I saw Clay just sitting there, it started to come back. You know, piece by piece, and when he told me about Lucy, fuck, you know, it hurt. You know, realizing that I killed her without thinking or feeling anything. Not at the time, anyway. Well, then things just kept piling on. More memories of Ezio and Altair and the first civilization. And then, right before he vanished, Clay passed on his memories to me. He showed me everything he had seen and lived through, and it was brief, but overwhelming. Not really sure how to explain. He saw glimpses of Adam and Eve and their escape from slavery. He saw the beginning and the end of the war between the first Civ and humans. He saw Minerva, Juno, and Tinia trying to work out their calculations. At least that's what they called them. They had these tools, these powerful machines that could predict possible futures. Not what was going to happen, but what could happen. Probabilities. And, well, they spent a lot of energy trying to figure out what was most likely scenario for the future. Theirs and ours. And in the end, I guess they figured I was their most likely candidate. Some guy named Desmond living at the beginning of the 21st century of the Common Era. But which Desmond was the right one? Because, you see, probability is a weird thing. It can branch out in so many ways. Which version of me did they need? Was it the Desmond who got married early and had a son? One who stayed single in New York? Or was it the Desmond who moved to San Francisco to be a waiter? Maybe it was the Desmond who worked at an auto body shop in Chicago, or maybe it was the me who never ran away from his parents in the first place. First Civ had countless variations to choose from, but in the end, the lucky one was me. I'm the Desmond their best calculations spit out. I'm the Desmond they left their messages for, and I guess I have to live with that honor. What an honor. Pretty tired. There'll be more later. Ciao.
Alright, give me just a minute here. Just had put something in the air fryer to eat. So we're just taking it out. Healthy dinner, but it's quick and easy and it sounds really good. Just a bunch of mini corn dogs. Alright. Oops. Remember, their relentless and pertinent hollow drive to achieve everything our forebears had led us to many embarrassments and disasters. Nuclear weapons, superviruses, genetically modified poison food, toxic air, plastic sea wreck, and sea spawn, and the list goes on. You can look it up for yourselves on the internet. But all this, too, had a secret purpose in the end. I think that's all I can do right now.
Over here. Are you ready? He's waiting for us. I just watched some of your footage from this week. It's amazing. Blackbeard was mental. And we all got so excited that we started talking about this idea for a trailer about him. Maybe start with him drinking, talking to some pirates, telling a story. Then, we cut to him leaping across the deck of his boat and... Sorry, his ship, not boat. But jumping around the deck of his ship, swinging from ropes, and fighting like a devil. I mean, obviously we're gonna have to manipulate some of the existing footage to get it looking good, but it could be great. I'm getting a shiver in my timbers just thinking about it. Sorry.
No.
Bonjour, ça va? I hope we're not late.
No, you can go right...
Hi, Melanie. I saw you just walked in. I need a few minutes with you alone. Laetitia is on the phone and we're discussing the Kenway project.
Oh, yes, of course. Sorry about this. I'll call you when we're ready.
Shouldn't be long.
Hello? Hello? Do you have a second? Of course you do. Head to the waypoint on your map. I have another job for you. I'd like to link all the cameras in the building to a central monitoring system, but most aren't calibrated correctly. Another locked door. Not a problem. Voila. You now have level 2 security clearance. Not bad for your first few weeks. Find the camera control station first. I'll update your communicator. Ah, this is an interesting security measure. It looks like you need to find the right combination of numbers to adjust the wave. Easy enough, right? Pick a number selector, then change its value. Once you find the right combination of numbers, you should get access. It works.
And if we want information on assassins or Templars or the observatory or whatever the fuck else interests us, Olivier, you will deliver it. Full stop.
Uh-huh.
I understand that, Leticia. I'm sorry if that came out wrong. We are not trying to be a bottleneck here, but we just don't have the resources right now to do 2 times the research.
Finding that balance is your priority. Your entertainment products are simply a means to pay the bills for larger and more important work. That's the way the world works. Dirty money buys clean hospitals. You get it?
We're on board, Leticia, rest assured. We have our best employee working on this, but it will take time.
That means you.
Good. And thank you. The both of you. I look forward to seeing what you deliver. Until then, I'll see you at the shareholders meeting, Olivier.
Looking forward to it. Bye-bye. Tabarnak! It's a little too early for that kind of abuse, huh? Come on.
So, what's next?
We do as the lady says. Focus on the observatory.
Assassins, Templars, crazy talk. I'm curious about this shareholders meeting, though. How about you break into Olivier's office and see if you can find his schedule? Oh, what? You don't like that idea? Well, how about I blow the fucking whistle on you, hacker? I own you. What I mean is, I don't want to ruin your life. So, do as I say. Now, step over to the window. Can't waltz into Olivier's office through the front door, so I've opened another route. Up we go. Did you know that Abstergo was run by Templars? Oh, yeah. Sounds like crackpot stuff, I know. But then again, the moon landing was fake, right? So, anything's possible. All right. Either you walk through that door, or throw yourself off the terrace. Those are your options. Oh, well done, kiddo. Find his computer. Make it snappy. We're looking for the shareholders meeting schedule. It's worth a lot of money to us.
to Melanie LeMay, Cameron, Chloe Lesney, Christopher Darby, Evan Dean from Olivier Garneau. Salute. As most of you know, I'll be attending the Chicago shareholders meeting from the 15th to 17th, and I want to see our progress with the Kenway line. The small amount of data we have already gathered is incredible, and we anticipate even more amazing finds in the near future. The events and people we have seen so far have made us confident that the complete experience will be one of the most eye-opening explorations of piracy ever seen. It will take quite a bit of work to scrub the data of objectionable and classified material, but we already have some incredibly promising footage. At the time, Abstergo Entertainment will soon be announcing a closed beta for our new consumer cloud interface app, sexy name forthcoming. Edward Kenway's virtual pirate experience will be the first complete product on offer and the first of its kind anywhere, an immersive interactive pirate experience drawn from actual historical data. Internal tests of our consumer cloud app have been encouraging, and we anticipate it will be ready in time for the next holiday season if everything goes according to plan. So this leads us to the broader question: what other experiences would we like to offer? What other historical periods and locations can we explore? Judging by our current rate of data retrieval, our capacity to produce, and our understanding of consumption trends, executives at Abstergo Industries have given me the goal of producing one complete virtual experience per annum, in addition to smaller offerings as our research allows. This includes books, recordings, films, and any other transmedia offerings. A second related question is this: does Sample 17 contain enough compelling data to sustain our current commitment to it, or should we make a request to Abstergo Industries for additional archive data? Remember that data from Sample 1 proved fruitful enough to create a liberation project. It is very likely that research into Sample 2 through 16 would bear surprising fruits as well. Thoughts? Olivier Garneau. Hello all, thanks for opening the discussion. Olivier, just a brief heads up with where we stand now. I've been the Sample 17 project director for just over a year now. My team and I have been able to cobble together a rough list of the interesting time periods available to us through his simple genetic sample. Remember, this is data that has already been fully or partially sequenced by Abstergo Industries. I'll try and be brief. By Melanie LeMay. 15th century Italian Renaissance, 16th century Ottoman Empire, 18th century American colonies, War for Independence, 19th century New England and American Midwest, matrilineal line, 12th century Holy Land Crusades, 13th century Egypt and Northern Africa, 14th century Ashiga Shogunate in Japan, 18th century French Revolution, 19th century Napoleon Taiwan, 20th century Summer of Love, American Pacific Coast. Obviously, this is just a small sample of potential options. The number of ancestors any one person has is well above 30,000 after just 15 generations. So there could be many more surprises waiting for us within Sample 17. However, despite Sample 17's rich heritage, we should not limit ourselves to this alone if we have concrete leads elsewhere. For instance, quite a few men from all sides of my family fought in both world wars, and I have a great-great-grandfather who fought in the American Civil War. I managed to meet President Lincoln a few times too. Going this route is a little more costly and time-consuming since the data has not already been sequenced, but it could be rewarding in the long run. In short, if anyone has confirmed connections to interesting historical events, periods, or cities, or knows people who do, please share. I will also be reviewing the past 3 decades of sample collected with sequenced by Abstergo Industries. I recently learned that one of our samples, number 2, I believe participated in the trial of Jeanne d'Arc. So there's a nice lead right there. Melanie LeMay, project coordinator, Sample 17. Possible location. All good points now. A word of caution, though. Sample 2 comes from the late Dr. Warren Vidic himself, collected at some point in the early 80s when he was a young engineer working at Abstergo Industries. So as tempting as Jeanne d'Arc sounds, I'm not sure Abstergo Industries would be keen on letting us rummage through around Dr. Vidic's DNA. It's just a sensitive topic. For my own part, I'm related to Francois Xavier Garneau, noted Quebecois, historian and poet, exciting, right? Possible lead. One additional caveat, let's avoid digging into modern periods, i.e. 20th century, unless we find something incredibly compelling. Because as fun as World War II setting might sound, we do well to avoid any settings of vehicles, cars, motorcycles, helicopters, tanks, etc. Why, may you ask? Because our research has shown that memory imprinting in individuals is actually hampered by the semi-catatonic state most people enter when driving for medium and long periods of times. And this makes data retrieval somewhat more difficult. In short, we don't want to go through the effort of coding extra animus features just for the sake of digging up memories of people who driving around in cars. There are other and more efficient ways to experience that. OG. From Chloe. Olivier, Quebec City is beautiful, but without pirates and zombies, I'm not sure how well a story about a historian would sell. Also, keep in mind, samples 4 and 16 might be off limits too. While doing my own research last month, I caught wind of some exciting characters buried within these gene samples. But as soon as I started digging, I was told by people far, far above me to stop. Very odd, but not surprising, I suppose. AE has a lot of active military contracts, and I assume these had something to do with that. I didn't push back. As far as my own, if anyone is interested, my great-grandfather was friends with Hemingway and Stein and Satie and Picasso when he lived in Paris in the 1920s. No action-packed adventures there, but historically interesting, just throwing it out there. Chris, is our lunch meeting on site or off? Melanie LeMay, this is from Olivia. Yes, as much as I love The Lost Generation, I think our first few virtual experiences will need to be a little more action-oriented. So wars, major combat operations are always a good starting point, or any periods of intense conflict, really. As for pirates and zombies, we could easily accommodate the first two, but zombies are a bit, ahistorical? Too bad, really. My great-grandmother, for instance, this is from Christopher Darby. My great-grandmother, for instance, worked alongside Eamon de Valera and Michael Collins for many years during the Irish War for Independence, so it wouldn't be difficult to sequence a small segment of my own genetic memories for our purposes. Olivia, actually, there is factual basis for zombies, or zombification, anyway. Read Hurston's book on Haiti and the strange voodoo practice there. It may not be Hollywood-style zombie magic, but it's creepy nonetheless. In Liberation, Evelyn came into contact with voodoo Hungans. If we dug further into that, I wonder what we could find. Her mentor, Agate, was into some weird stuff. Kale, off-site. There's a new vegetarian place I want to try. I'll bring the spec sheets. They're already printed. It's from Common Neuron. Sorry to be a center, but couldn't we be using this technology to educate, not placate? I mean, theoretically, we have all human history to explore, all of our achievements and brightest moments, so it's a little disheartening to hear we need to focus on wars and conflicts and violence. It's not that I'm against violence, per se, it's just that violence isn't terribly interesting in bulk, that's all. There's so much more nuanced to life, and I think we could explore that. So what if we found the memories of someone who worked with Albert Einstein in his patent office, or Charles Darwin on the Beagle, or Marie Curie in France, moments where humans showed their very best potential? Okay, come on. Until oily, humorless university professors start paying us 8 figures fees to research the verification of normative gender signifiers in pre-colonial India, why don't we stick to shit that sells? I'm talking Jack the Ripper in Victorian London. I'm talking about guillotines, Robespierre, and Napoleon Bonaparte in the French Revolution. I'm talking Billy the Kid and Wyatt Earp in the wild American West. I'm talking about Genghis Khan and the Mongols killing a city of millions in the span of a long summer weekend. Action, blood, adventure, conflict. Because we're not going to earn back 1/10 of the money we have poured into this, reliving the memories of a guy who sat next to Einstein as he bit his nails while working on the finer details of general relativity in his head. For fuck's sake, man, this is business, not a group therapy session. Evan, let's take this offline. Well, that was a lot. A security presentation. That.
You sneaky bastard. A pirate through and through, ain't you? Now, get down to the lobby. There's a courier waiting. Yeah, that's right. I've been planning this for a few hours. Now, wait. The receptionist. Hold on. I'll try something.
No, it's the phone is
As gullible as ever.
Can I hack her computer while I'm here?
Now, hurry down to the lobby before I remotely detonate your earpiece.
Damn it, I'm trying to rush this. God damn it! Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. Black Flag. Chapter 3. She was the Auld Shillog, a tavern halfway between Hithorn and Bristol, a regular hunt of mine, and sometimes in the summer when mother and father toiled over me sharing at home when I'd have to make more regular trips into town, then several times a day. I admit I didn't take much notice of her at first, when unusual for me because I like to pride myself on knowing the exact location of any pretty woman nearabouts. And besides, the Shillog, whatever, wasn't exactly the sort of place you expect to find a pretty woman. A woman, yes, a certain type of woman, but this girl, I could see, wasn't like that. She was young, about my age, and she was white linen coif and smock. Looked to me like a domestic. But what made me aware of her wasn't her clothes, it was the loudness of her voice, which was quite in contrast to the way she looked. She was sitting with 3 men, all of them older than her, who I recognized at once. Tom Cobley, his brother Seth, and Julian somebody, whose surname escaped me, but who worked with them. 3 men with whom I had traded words, if not blows, before. The kind who looked down their noses at me because I thought I looked down my nose at them. Who liked me no more than I liked them, which was not a lot. They were sat forward on their stools, watching this young girl with leering, wolfish eyes that betrayed a darker purpose, and even though they were all smiles, banging on the table, encouraging her as she drank dry a flagon of ale. No, she did not look like one of the women who usually frequent the tavern, but it seemed that she was determined to act like one of them. The flagon was about as big as she was, and she wiped her hand across her mouth and banged it to the table. The men responded with cheers, shouting for another one, and no doubt pleased to see her wobble slightly on their stool. Probably couldn't believe in their luck. Pretty little thing like that. I watched as they let the girl drink yet more ale with the same tumult accompanying her success, and then she did the same as before and wiped her hand across her mouth, but with an even more pronounced wobble this time. A look passed between them, a look that seemed to say the job is done. Tom and Julian stood, and they began, in their words, to escort her to the door because you've had too much to drink, my lovely. Let's get you home, shall we? To bed, smirked Seth, thinking he was saying it under his breath, even though the whole tavern heard him. Let's be getting you to bed. I passed a look at the barman, who dropped his eyes and used his apron to blow his nose. The customer sat down at the bar from me, turned away as I appealed to him with my eyes. Bastards. Might as well look to the cat for help. I thought, then with a sigh, banged down my tankard, stepped off my stool, and followed the Cobleys into the road outside. I blinked as I stepped in the darkness of the tavern into bright sunlight. My cart was there, roasting in the sun. Beside it, another one that I took to belong to the Cobleys. On the other side of the road was a yard with a house set far back, but no sign of a farmer. We were alone on the highway, just me. The girl sagged as Tom Coley let go of her arm and turned to address me, his finger already raised. Now just stay out of this, Edward Kenway. You young good-for-nothing. You're as drunk as I am. Your morals just as loose. I don't need to be given a talking to by the likes of you. Seth and Julian had turned as well. The girl was glazed over like her mind had turned in for the night, even if her body was still awake. Well, I smiled. Loose morals I might have, Tom Cobley. But I don't need to pour ale down a girl's throat before taking her to bed. I certainly don't need 2 friends to help me at the task. Why, you cheeky little bastard, you. I'm going to put her on my cart is what I'm going to do and take her home. I have no doubt you intend to put her on your cart and take her home. It's what you plan to do between putting her on the cart and reaching home that concerns me. That concerns you, does a broken nose and a couple broken ribs will be concerning you unless you mind your own bloody business. Squinting, I glanced at the highway trees bordering the dirt. Track shone gold and green in the sun, and in the distance was a lone figure on a horse, shimmering and indistinct. I took a step forward, and if there had been any worth or humor in my man, then it disappeared now, almost of its own accord. There was a steeliness in my voice when I next spoke. Now, you leave that girl alone, Tom, or I won't be responsible for my actions. The 3 men looked at one another in a way they'd done as I asked. They let go of the girl, and she seemed almost relieved to slide to her haunches, placing one hand on the ground and looking at us all with bleary eyes, evidently oblivious to all that was being discussed on their behalf. Meanwhile, I looked at the guys and weighed up the odds. Have I ever fought 3 at once? Well, no, because if you were fighting 3 at once, you weren't so... Fighting 3 at once when you weren't so much fighting, you were getting beat up. But come on, Edward, can we? I told myself, yes. On one hand, it was 3 men, but one of them was Tom. He was no spring chicken and my father's age. Another one was Seth. He was Tom's son. If you can imagine the kind of person who would help his father get a young girl drunk. But you can imagine that sort of person Seth was. Which has to say a maggoty, underhand type, more likely to run away from a fight than with wet breeches and stand his ground. And what's more, they were drunk. On the other hand, I was drunk too. Plus, I had Julian, who, going on looks alone, which is all I had, could handle himself. But I had another idea. The Lone Rider. I could see in the distance. If I could just hold off until he arrived, the odds were likely to shift back in my favor. After all, if he was a good character, the Lone Rider would bound to stop and help me out. Well, Tom, I said, you got the advantage over me. That's obvious for anyone to see, but you know, I just wouldn't be able to look my mother in the eye knowing I'd let you and your cronies abduct this pretty little thing. I glanced up the road to where the Lone Rider was getting closer. Come on, man. I thought, don't hang about. So, even if you end up leaving me in a bloody heap on the side of this here road and carry out that young lassie off anyway, I'm going to have to do all I can to make it as difficult for you as possible, and perhaps to see it that you go on with your way with a black eye, maybe a pair of throbbing bullets for your troubles. Tom spat and gazed at me through wise and slitty eyes. Well, are you just going to stand there talking about it all day, Edward Kenway, or are you going to attend to your task? Because time waits for no man. He grinned an evil grin. I've got people to see, things to do. That's right. And the longer you leave it, the more chance poor lassie has of sobering up, eh? I don't mind telling you, I'm getting tired of this talk, Kenway. He turned to Julian. How about we teach this little bastard a lesson? Oh, and one more thing before we start, Master Kenway. You ain't fit to shine your mother's shoes, you understand? That hit me hard, I don't mind admitting. Having someone like Tom, who is all the morals of a frothing dog, about half the intelligence, able to reach into my soul, as my guilt was an open wound, then stick his thumb in that open wound and cause me ever more pain. Well, it certainly firmed up my resolve, if nothing else. Sorry, I got a text. Julian pushed his chest forward and with a snarl advanced 2 steps away from which he raised his fist, dipped his right shoulder and swung, and I don't know who Julian was used to fighting outside taverns, but somebody with less experience than me, that's for sure, because I'd already taken note of the fact that he was right-handed. And he couldn't have made his intentions more obvious if he tried. The dirt rose in clouds around my feet as I dodged easily and brought my own right up sharply. He shouted in pain as I caught him under the jaw. And it had just been him. A battle would have been won. But Tom was already upon me. I just saw him at the corner of the eye and was too late to react, and I was dazed by a fist that slammed into my temple. I staggered slightly as I turned to meet the attack, and my fist was swinging much more while hoping to land a lucky blow, needing to put at least one of the men down to even up the numbers. But none of my punches made contact as Tom retreated, plus Julian had recovered from my first punch with alarming speed and now came at me again. He swung and his right hand connected with my chin, spinning me about so I almost lost my balance. My hat fell off, my hair was in my eyes, and I was in disarray. And guess who came in with his boots kicking? That worm Seth, shouting encouragement to his father and Julian at the same time, and the little bastard was lucky. His boot caught me in the mid-drift, and already off balance, I lost my footing and fell. The worst thing you can do in a fight against three men is fall. Once you fall, it's over. Through their legs, I saw the Lone Rider up the highway. Now my only chance of salvation possible, my only hope of getting out of this alive. But what I saw made my heart sink. Not a man on a horse, a tradesman, who would dismount and come rushing to my aid. No, the Lone Rider was a woman. She was riding astride a horse, not side saddle. But even though it was lady, she wore a bonnet and a light-colored summery dress, and the last thing I thought before the cowboy boots obscured my view, kicks came raining in, that she was beautiful. But beauty wasn't going to save me now. Hell, I heard. You three men, stop what you're doing right now. They turned to look up to her and moved their hats, shuffling in line to hide the sight of me, who lay coffee on the ground. What is going on here? She demanded to know. From the sound of her voice, I could tell she was young and, while not highly born, definitely well-bred. Too well-bred, surely, to be riding unaccompanied. We were just teaching this young man here some manners, rasped Tom, out of breath, exhausted business. It was kicked me half to death. Well, it doesn't take three of you to do that, does it? I could see her now, twice as beautiful as I first saw her. She was glowering the goblins. Glowering. For their part, looked thoroughly mortified. She dismounted him. More to the point, what you doing with this young lady here? Pointed at the girl, who sat dazed and drunk on the ground. Oh, man, this is a young friend of ours who had too much to drink. The lady darkened. She is most certainly not your young friend. She is a maid servant, and if I don't get her back home before my mother discovers that she's absconded, then she will be unemployed, Miss Servant. She looked pointedly from one man to the next. I know you men, and I think I know exactly what was going on here. Now you will leave this young man alone and on your way before I have mind to take this further. As much bowing, scraped and cobblers clambered aboard the cart and were soon gone. Meanwhile, the woman dismounted, knelt down to speak to me. My name is Carolyn Scott. My family lives in Hawkins Lane in Bristol. Let me take you back where you tend to your back there and tend to your wounds. I cannot, my lady. I have work to do. I see. And did I address the situation correctly? I picked up you did, my lady. Then I owe you my thanks, and so will Rose when she sobers up. She's a willful girl, not always easiest of staff, but nevertheless, I don't want to see her suffer for impetuousness. She was an angel, I decided then, and I helped them mount the horse, Caroline holding on to Rose, who lolled drunkenly over the neck of the horse. I just thought, can I see you again, my lady? To thank you properly when I look a little more presentable, perhaps. I fear my father would not approve, she said. That night I sat beneath the thatch of her cottage, staring out over the pastures. It was somewhat unusual. My thoughts would concern either the possibility of escape or wrestling with the inevitability of my future. That night I thought of Caroline Scott, of Hawkins Lane.
Don't even think about ratting me out. My tracks are covered. Yours ain't.
No, there's a thing I missed. Hey, what do you call it? It's one of those scan code picture QR codes.
Like the allongé? I practiced.
I think you pulled it a little too long.
Oh, come on. It's not encrypted code, for God's sakes. It's just a bloody coffee. Oh, hooray! It's our old friend.
Hey there. I just got a call about picking up another transfer.
Oh? You said you were here to see me.
Yes, that is one of the perks. Let's see it. A conference in Chicago. Very nice. Thanks for this. We'll be in touch.
Ciao, Rebecca. Text me.
Stuff it, Hastings.
Not even safe where we work.
Well done, friend. Very well done. Apologies for my temper tantrum there. You are with the good guys, I promise. We'll keep you safe. Trust me. Go on back to work. We'll be in touch.
Yes, we submit that we are such tools, and as such have a purpose befitting the tool. We submit we are like hammers and wrenches and shovels made for a specific purpose on our own. We submit that our purpose is indivisible from the wall of those who came before. We submit ourselves, our bodies, and our minds utterly. There's a couple of these over here.
Legal right to do this.
I'm just curious. I want to see what happens if I put my phone up to it.
Yeah, with the highest levels of security clearance from 17 different countries, Abstergo actually has a legal right to arrest and detain people too. It's crazy.
It's nothing. Take, for instance, gunpowder, which gave us great mystery over fire. Take, for instance, which warped our way of seeing true life. Take the light bulb and gave us light, which none was necessary. Take the automobile that sped us along with velocities capable of killing us in new and silly ways.
God, did I make a mistake last week? Sticking my nose where I shouldn't have. What happened? Poking around the servers, I found a small bit of sequence data on Joan of Arc. Minutes after loading it up, security was at my desk.
You didn't get hacked, did you?
What happened? I saw them asking you questions.
Yeah. They confiscated my Animus key, and now my position here is...
You didn't hear about the hacker? No, the hacker here, at Abstergo. Who's Erudito?
See if it needs checking out.
Getting weird around here.
I've an awful feeling about this. You'll be hurt out there. I couldn't handle that.
I'll be careful, I promise. And when I'm flush with coin and set up, I'll send for you. I will.
Caroline, come away! Don't exert yourself!
I can't promise I'll come, Edward. If you leave on this fool's errand, I cannot promise anything.
Don't give up on me, Caroline! Not when I need your faith the most.
Putting some shape to your sentiments?
Just a short letter home. I reckon she's past caring anyway.
Oh, you're a hard heart that should be softer.
Or soft in parts that should be hard.
And how is it you're so keen for his hard parts, Mr. Rackham?
like to know my secrets, would you?
Oh, aye. Give me a small hint, like. Or a large one if you're an upright gentleman.
Open your hand.
Oh.
Who's shooting?
Might be them ships sliding into port.
Jesus.
Alright. I actually think we're at a good stopping point here. So I'm going to call it a night. But I will catch you guys later.